Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we're taking a look at the desire for new fights, Trunks Teen and Goten Teen. Now these guys came out with the Superheroes banner and they're pretty interesting. Bond of Friendship category lead of Ki +3, HP attack and defense of 130%. They raise attack and defense for 1 turn, cause supreme damage and seal the enemy's super attack with their super attack. They randomly change AGL key spheres to key spheres of another type. They have attack and defense of 100% with an additional attack and defense of 10% when performing a super attack per superheroes category ally on the team. They get an additional attack and defense of 100% with 3 or more key spheres, an additional defense of 50% and a high chance of performing a critical hit with 5 or more key spheres, and they get an additional attack of 50% and great chance of launching an additional super attack with 7 or more key spheres. Because they have the high chance of critting at 5 or more key spheres, which is relatively easy to get with them, I highly suggest you build them into a additional build, because then when you do get the 7 or more key spheres, you can potentially fire off an additional super attack, which like 3 super attacks, which does a very big change up to their defense. They have Saiyan Warrior Race, Saiyan Lineage, the Innocence, Shocking Speed, Infighter, Tough as Nails, and Fierce Battle as their link skills, and they're on Fusion, interestingly enough, because they fusion their super attack, Hybrid Saiyan, Joint Forces, Movie Heroes, Siblings Bond, Time Limit, Bond of Friendship, Battle of Fate, Fused Fighters, Bond of Parent and Child, Earthbred Fighters, and Superheroes. They're pretty good. They're really solid, they're quite fun, I like them a lot. There are a couple things. They're essentially, to cut a long story short, they are essentially a alternative version of the Tech Sin Shenron. So if you've ever used Tech Sin Shenron or the Tech Nova and Ice Shenron, so kind of similar in build to that. They have that orb changing ability. They're able to crit, they're able to additional based on the orbs. They're gonna have decent attack stats. They're gonna have solid defensive stats after super. If you look at them, I think they would support at 172k. Before super, that 172k becomes roughly around 260. The raise on defense, so we're looking at 300k. Also defense is pretty solid. It's quite solid, I would say. It's not world breaking, it's not the biggest stats in the world, but if you have them rainbow with a dupe or two, you're looking at a unit that's going to have 400k, 500k post attack defense, and they're also going to be able to shuck out 5-6 million attack stats. It's good stuff. It's exactly basically like Tech Sin Shenron. The only difference is that they don't have Tech Sin Shenron fulfills a very niche role in teams because he's on very limited categories. Whereas these guys are weirdly inverse in that they're on quite a few categories that already have very good options. So you have to weigh up whether you want to put them into the team or not. Are they going to cater towards physical Ultimate Gohan? Not really. Do they link up well with Tech Piccolo? Not really. So it's one of those situations where they suffer from the amount of choice their categories have compared to a unit like Tech Sin Shenron, who's clear and by far the best second or third unit on his major category. So it is something that's pretty important. Now, in terms of links, obviously they don't get a lot from link leveling. They are a hybrid Saiyan superclass unit, but they do have Tough as Nails. Now, Tough as Nails is not a link that they share with a lot of units. Tough as Nails is a very, very, very rare-ish link. And so it is difficult to say, prioritize this link, because it's not something that's super common amongst the Hybrid Saiyans team. It's not something that's, super duper common that they definitely have. I think the amount of units that share it with them are the 8th Annie LRs in their standby stage or skill, Piccolo and Goku. And then Piccolo and Goku again, the 2 LRs. And then you get like maybe Yajirobe on Earthbred Fighters. And yeah, it's just not common. It's just not very common. They don't have a lot of options for it. There's not a huge number of units that really share that link with them. So I want to say prioritize it, because it's by far and away their best defensive link. But it is one of those that unless you're running them on Earthbred fighters and you've got a Yajirobe sitting in the 3rd slot, they're very unlikely to get it. So although it's something to prioritize, although it's a great link that does a lot, it is also a very limited link in that it's not really super accessible for them. So that's just something to keep in mind. Overall, I think they're a good unit. They do have decent-ish flexibility with their link set, and they create orbs, so key's not always a major concern for them. I think the biggest thing is where do you take them? Do you take them as a floater to create orbs potentially? Do you take them as a 2nd slot unit? They don't really encompass any 1st slot units too well. They don't wrap their arms around them and really build them or cater them towards units. So it's just interesting. I think overall for me, it's one of those situations where the unit's quite fun, but I think they're not the 1st or secondary choice in their position on a lot of teams. But that doesn't mean that they're not useful, and that doesn't mean that they're not a lot of fun to run, so give them a try. If you have them, you could be pleasantly surprised, especially if you're a new player who's building their 1st team. These guys are going to be a good option for you in a lot of stages. So yeah, I think they're great. I have a lot of fun with them. I think they're a ton of fun to use, and overall I'm really quite happy with them. But yeah, that's basically pretty much it. That's everything you need to know. At this point, you can just let me know how you guys feel about them. I think that's pretty cool. And yeah, you can always give me a shout. But that's basically going to be it for me. See you next time. Bye.